We're going to talk about something that's known in the e-commerce world, which is inventory management. Now, I can tell you from an example, people who understand how inventory is are those who are already doing millions in their business already. Beginners don't really understand what inventory means, like how important inventory is and how important it either make or break your business. But I'm going to show you multiple lessons that I've learned the hard way. So I'm going to share with you guys some hard lessons, and they are basically going to be like in three parts. They are going to be the what to do, which is what you should do so that you can optimize your inventory management and actually make more money without losing money with inventory. The second will be what to avoid. This is very important. Please, this second part is very important. You make sure you watch it. Third part is how to grow without chaos. Because when you start scaling your business, if you're doing like $500 per month, you're not really having a lot of issues. Once you start crossing like 1,000 to 2,000 per month, that's when you start having like crazy issues in the business. So we're going to talk about how to grow without chaos. It's going to be very interesting training. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to optimize your system. There's no best inventory system in the world. You have to just take what is useful to you, apply it, and then move forward. Okay. So let's talk about the first part, what to do. First thing I will tell you to do right now is this. I want you to try your best to implement a robust inventory management system. Inventory is one part of e-commerce where you can't just use system that's available to everyone, because if you get to a point where those basic systems will no longer work for you, you have to use something robust that will basically help you achieve the goal you want to achieve. For instance, a basic e-commerce inventory management system is something like, if you are selling products in Abuja, you take your product from, let's say, your base, Lagos, for instance. You take it from your base, you take it to the car park or to those transport companies. They send it over to those places for you, and delivery agents call you and say, hey, I'm getting it right now, and that's fine. That's a normal process. But when you start selling a lot of product, like doing like $1,000 per month, you start realizing that you can't just wake up any morning and send a product to the pack. You have to either do a coordinated thing where you send multiple products to multiple packs in one day, or you send multiple products to that particular pack and then they can distribute it from there to different places. And then when they start getting tons of orders over and over again, they want to still keep using that simple system that got them to where they are. Why they want to go to a different place? It's not possible. So you have to move. So as you scale, you need to ensure you have a system in place to track your stock levels accurately. If you don't know how many stock you have in a particular place, if you get tons of orders and you can't deliver those orders, those are failed delivery. And let's say, for example, you spend 2,500 naira to get an order and you have 50 orders in a place, let's say Abuja. If you don't deliver those orders to those places, you've just lost like over 5,000 naira right there because you could not deliver to those places, right? So what I'm trying to make you understand is this. You need to basically know your stock level. And the way you know your stock level is to implement a system where you do daily stock taking. So it can either be manual or it can be automatic, right? Now, in Nigeria, we don't really have like very good systems that help us with inventories. So most of us just use different parts, right? I have my own inventory system. I was talking to all my guy, he has his own inventory system. They have online inventory system they're using. You have your inventory system you're using. The thing is this, anybody that is using like at least $1,000 per month, $2,000 per month has their own system they are using. And people don't really talk about inventory management because it's like the secret of the business. If you really know how to do inventory really well, you will basically make a lot of money. Like when I was designing this slide, I was like, why am I teaching this stuff? This is like the secret of the business. I'm like, yeah, I'm just trying to help my people, right? Because this is the secret of the business. If you really understand how to make sure your inventory don't go out of stock or you don't overstock, you basically maintain your cash flow and then you make a lot of money, right? Because if you have a lot of orders where you don't have products, guess what? It's failed delivery, straight up. Most clients will know it. And if you want to do that over and over again, it's going to be very frustrating, right? To look like you're just getting a lot of orders and you're wasting money. Okay. So that's why we basically want to have a system for that. Inventory accuracy is the percentage of inventory orders matching the actual stock level, and having an inventory manager can be crucial. I can tell you one thing. My business started really growing really well. I think I've talked about this multiple times when I got an inventory manager. Like I got somebody whose job was simply to take stock every blessed day. That person was in charge of, okay, I have Wasu in Lagos Island that is delivering our product for us. Wasu has 60 of this product, 40 of this product, 20 of this product. That person is every blessed day calculating it in a spreadsheet, how many products we have in a particular place. What you begin to notice is you notice that some agents, sometimes they lost products. That's one thing you notice. You also notice that sometimes you have some products in places that you've forgotten. That's the first thing I realized when I hired the person for that person went to do the whole stock counting and stuff. I had some products that I stopped selling, and after 2 months, I literally just forgot I had that product. Right? That's that person basically make your life 10 times. So hiring an inventory manager, if you get like probably $2,000 per month, $1,000 per month, depending on how you run a business, you want to get somebody who is just focused on inventory alone. Because if you get a lot of others and you can't deliver those orders because you don't have products in those places, that's money you just lost automatically. Now, you want to basically dedicate time to understanding and optimizing your supply chain, which is the distribution system. Like your goal in e-commerce, think about it, is to get enough product from supplier to the customer. That's what we are doing. We're facilitating the trade. We're in between. We get a supplier or a producer, if the person is producing your product and you are the sole owner of the product, doesn't matter, but still, there's still somebody producing it. You are the middle. Your goal is to get it to the customer. So at the end of the day, you want to understand the delivery system, the delivery chain, so that when you have a product from a supplier or from a seller, you can take it smoothly, right, to your warehouse or down to your office or wherever, and then ship it, boom, to the customer. The goal is you want to do that effectively and efficiently so that every time you get an order, I don't have any product in Abuja, I can send a product to Abuja the next day, and that product can be delivered the next day. You see the point? You want to do that over and over again in the business. Pay attention to supply lead time, right? If supply is telling you, supply lead time basically means the time supply used to send you products. How many days does it take to send it to you? How many hours does it take to send it to you? So if you currently don't have any stock right now, you call a supplier and say, hey, I need a product. How many minutes, hours, or days will it take them to send it to you? That's a very important thing. Yes, it might not be accurate. Let's say like supplier will say it might be 7 hours, 8 hours, or they say one day it can be 2 days, but it's important to know and just put an extra 1 day or an extra 5 hours, right? So that you don't get disappointed. But supplier lead time is very important because if you don't know when supplier can bring product to you and you're out of stock, you're going to keep telling the customer, hold on, reducing lead time can lead to making more money. That's why people will tell you, oh, I don't like buying from China. I like buying from Nigeria because I can get the product in the next day or the next 2 days maximum. Everyone has their advantage and their disadvantage. Okay. But supply lead time is something that's very important. If you supply lead time, you can always plan ahead. There are products we are selling that are actually from China. And all we have to do is just know, okay, this is the supply lead time. It's going to be 14 days. So what we need to do is we need to make sure we have product at least for 14 days before we actually buy something else, right? And if you notice in the course, I talked about that. Basically, I showed you guys how we do that stuff. So for instance, in the course, if you go to the operating system, I show you how to get the inventory stuff. Let's go to delivery. So if you see this delivery worksheet right here, let me open it. Okay. So this is the delivery worksheet right here. You see, I showed you basically what to do if you want to buy product. How many days you have to wait to get the product? How many products to be on ground to get any product? So if I know, okay, I said 10 products a day, right? And it takes 14 days to get a new product. If I bought 800 pieces of product, I need to make sure I have at least 140 pieces of product when I buy a new product because I know it's going to take me 14 days, right? You basically watch how I talked about it basically in the program, okay? So the whole idea I'm trying to make you understand is you need to understand the lead time. If you can understand lead time, it's easy for you to buy more products and then send it over to suppliers, right? Send for suppliers to the customer item. Okay. Next one is developing standard operating procedures. This is very important. I'll tell you one thing. You will have a lot of issues when it comes to inventory, when it comes to delivery. One thing that will reduce the issues are logistics SOP. Yes, logistic SOP. So what are SOPs? SOP are standard operating procedures, the way you do things in the business. So for instance, if you want to send products from Lagos to Abuja, what is the standard operating procedure? How do you do things? The reason why you create this standard operating procedure is for your team members to do this thing when you are not there. So that when they want to do it, you don't have to be like standing over their shoulder. They just basically go through and do it because you've taught them how to do it already. You have a system for doing it and it just makes a lot of sense, right? So that's how you want to like think about standard operating procedure. So let me show you an example of a standard operating procedure. So let's just through delivery system right now. Let's say, for instance, customer say, I want you to deliver to me in 3 hours. What you do is this. Because you already have a standard operating procedure, you've used it to teach your staff, they already know what to do. So what they are going to do is, if they've forgotten what the steps are, what they have to do is just open the document, go through this stuff again. Step 1 is to offer this. Step 2 is to follow up after the other placements, which is basically you follow up with the customer. Step 3 is basically to prepare the package, right? Step 4 is basically to book the ride. Step 5 is to communicate during delivery with the customer and the agent. Step 6 is to basically do the product confirmation. Then step 7 is to do the follow-up after delivery. By having all these things, it makes a lot of sense for the customer care or the person handling delivery to do the stuff for you, right? So you want to try to reduce the mistakes you make in a business by having SOPs. Turn unpredictable situations into clear processes by creating SOPs. As you encounter issues, find solutions and add them to the SOP. This helps to ensure everyone in the company understands processes and can follow them. What to do is you want to monitor your daily return on ad spends. First things first is this: keep track of how much you make. That's number 1. And how much you spend daily. Number 2. Especially when you are focused on just ads. Of course, if you are focused on ads, understanding your ROAS basically is crucial for making informed decisions when talking about inventory and marketing. Because if you don't have inventory in a particular place, let's say for instance, your ad is amazing, it's doing well, it's spitting orders, 1,000 naira per order. But then you don't have any product anymore. It doesn't matter if you are getting 100 naira per order. You don't have any product anymore. There's nothing you can do. So you have to basically go back and say, okay, I'm spending a lot of money on ads, but I don't have enough product right now. Let me kill this ad, or let me reduce the ad, or let me just leave it and let it keep going. Maybe you know why you're doing it. But most times you want to basically allow your inventory also to detect how much you spend. If you have a lot of products, if you notice, some people do this subconsciously. I did it subconsciously. I didn't know in the beginning. When I buy product, let's say 1,000 pieces or 500 pieces, what I'll just spend more on ads. Like literally, I'll just spend more on ads because I want to sell it off as fast as possible, right? Then to get to the point where the product is not remaining, let's say 500, 400, you don't have a lot of product anymore, subconsciously. But what you want to do is you want to be aware of what you're doing so that you do it the right way. Which is, if you don't have product in this particular place, there's no reason trying to keep running ads if you just can't deliver those orders. Okay? Does that make sense? Cool. Now, the second thing I want you to do is I want you to prioritize understanding core e-commerce function. True. In any business, there are core functions, right? There are core functions. Let's say, for instance, in e-commerce, there's a function of picking products from supplier and sending it to the customer. In real estate, there's a function of, let's say you are selling land, there's a function of discovering the land and then selling it to the customer. Okay? Finding the land and selling it to the customer, or buying the land from somebody and selling it to the customer, right? This is the fundamental job of e-commerce. It is all about picking a product from a supplier and sending it to the customer, regardless of the volume. That's the core thing. So there are two main things you must take very serious in e-commerce. The first one is sourcing products. The second one is distributing the products. And the third one is selling the products. You must know how to source products really well. Because when you have issue with a particular supplier, I need to get product fast, you need to know how to find suppliers immediately. You need to know how to search for suppliers that are not obvious to most people. You need to have a lot of supplier lists for your niche that you message multiple times and say, hey, if you're selling a product that you're producing yourself, that's quite different because now you need to just make sure that your supplier can produce products for you. Okay? So if they can produce products for you, what happens? It means, okay, they are satisfying your need. But the moment they are not able to produce products for you anymore, what do? You find a supplier who can meet the demand that you have. The second one is this. You need to be very good at distributing products in the sense of sending product through waybill or delivery to the customers. You're not the one doing it, but you need to understand the systems that coordinate those things. I talked about how I spent some time and even consulted with someone who is doing logistics, who is doing crazy well in logistics. I paid him like for an hour, 1 hour of his time to learn about logistics. It's not because I want to start logistics business. Although I wanted to start for in-house, but I still wanted to understand the ecosystem itself. And that made me really understand how delivery works and why it works, and understanding that, okay, some agents are just lazy, why some of them are not really lazy, just that they have staff that are messing up the whole thing. I understood the ecosystem really well because I know that's the core e-commerce function. distributing products. So I applaud you also to please go ahead and understand this ecosystem, right? That surrounds e-commerce, that coordinates this delivery that you want to do every day. And the third one, which is one that basically if you are not good at, you can't even get results in e-commerce, which is selling them. You need to basically get products and sell those products, right? You need to understand marketing. You need to understand sales. Marketing and sales are two different things. Marketing is all about getting attention at scale, while sales is getting people to actually buy your product. Right. But then you need to understand that, yes, you need to market, get people attention to your product, and then sell them the product. Very key. So understanding core functions are very important. If you core functions of things, you basically do well in those things over time. It's just the fact. You do well in those things over time. That's the truth. Okay. Next thing is this. Learn and improve continuously. Learn and improve continuously. The best way to do e-commerce is to learn, improve, implement, and repeat. You need to find and meet multiple issues and understand how to solve them. You're just watching it to learn, right? To just learn. Okay, let me just learn. And then you learn, you're like, okay, cool. I know how to do this stuff right now. How can I improve it? That's why we have sessions like this. When you implement that stuff, you basically realize, oh, it's not working for me this way. It's not working for me this way, but I want to make it better. Then most times, if you go back to watch the course again, you learn more. You might see something you've not seen before. This is very particular if you're a very avid reader or you read anyhow. You notice that if you read a book like 2 years ago, you come out to read it again, you see something new, always. If you watch a movie, let's say 4 years ago, and you watch it again, you see something new that you didn't see, right? I've watched Dune Part 1 and Part 2 more than 7 times. I always see something new every single time, right? The thing is this, if you basically do something over and over again, you learn, and you are willing to improve over and over again, you learn so much more. You get crazy results. Okay. So if you understand inventory and you are willing to do it, what I want to tell you is this: don't do it just once. Try your best to do it over and over again. Try your best to think, how can I improve the delivery from here to this place? How can I make sure if I'm sending a product from year to year, it's going to be fast? How do I do this? How do I do that? How do I do this? The more you ask yourself those questions, the better it becomes, right? Because then you think fast that way. Okay? You think faster that way. Okay. Now, I don't know if you guys are getting any ideas so far. By the way, what are those things for you in inventory that you think you do that helps you grow your e-commerce business and makes your inventory smooth? You can meet yourself. There's no wrong answer. You can just say one thing you do, basically, that helps you with the inventory.
Morning. This someone just come and pick up.
So basically, what you need to do is you need to learn more about inventory as much as possible. The program, if you check the course itself, a whole part dedicated to just delivery alone, because it is that important, right? And there's no way you are going to watch this first time that you will not learn so much. Also, there's no way you're going to watch this like after you've done e-commerce or you're doing e-commerce that you will not pick one or two things that you implement in your business. So I would advise you watch this stuff, watch this part of the inventory part, because you're going to learn so much from it. Okay, so let's continue. Next thing we're going to talk about is what to avoid. Now, this is for me one of the best parts, because most people need to understand that there are a lot of things that can waste your money when you're doing inventory.